All right, so the first thing you're going to do is grab a pattern, and then you are going to cut the pattern out. So the only tricky thing about cutting the patterns out is when you get to these little triangles, you actually need to cut a triangle going towards the outside, and you'll see why later on. And the rest of it is pretty self-explanatory until you get to the inside. Now, to cut the inside, you're going to fold it in half and then cut on that line. So that's the donut part of the pattern, and you'll just do the exact same thing for the icing portion of the pattern. Then you can get your pins out and your felt that you want to do. We'll do the donut first, and you are going to pin down your pattern to the felt. And now that it is all secure, we can start cutting out our felt. And you're just going to cut around the donut shape, the pattern. And once you finish that one up, you're actually going to need to cut out another donut. So see how the pattern says x2? That means times 2. So you need to cut out 2 of those donut shapes. So I did a light brown and a dark brown, but you can do whatever you want your donut to look like, and you just pin that down just like before and cut it out just like before. And the last thing we'll need to cut out for this is our icing or our frosting, and you'll see how it says times 1 on there. That means we only need 1 piece for our frosting. I chose pink. You can do whichever color you like. Alright, so now that everything is all cut out, we are going to go ahead and put our sprinkles on our icing. So the sprinkles, we're going to use a piece of yarn. So any color that you want is totally fine. And you're going to cut your yarn there. And we actually only need 1 little piece of this yarn. So you have to kind of pull the other pieces away from it. And once you just have your 1 strand, we're actually going to thread our needle. So I'm going to teach you a little trick on how to do this. What you'll do is you're going to get a piece of wire and you'll push it through the eye of the needle. The eye of the needle is just the hole of the needle. So now you have a nice, easy place to put your yarn. So then you'll take your yarn and you'll put it through that hole that the wire makes. Like that, and then you're gonna pull that wire circle through the eye, and it will bring the yarn with it. So that's a lot easier than just pushing the yarn through the eye of the needle. Now you can just put it through the eye of the needle if you want, but this is a nice little trick that makes it just a little easier. Alright, so once you line up your ends together, you're going to tie a knot in the ends of them. So just tie those 2 pieces of string together, and that way your needle won't come loose, and it will also help with something else as well, but you'll see soon. So now it's time to put on those sprinkles. So go ahead and poke your needle through the icing, and then just poke it back down through the other side. And that's as easy as it is. And you just want to tie the back of it together, and then you'll just trim the ends and make another sprinkle, and you'll just continue this until you have however many sprinkles you want to have. Great, sprinkles are done. So now we are going to get to sew our very first part, and we're going to sew the icing onto the top of your donut. So it's best to pin it down first, that way it's not moving around while you're sewing. So just take a couple pins there and pin it down. And then I'm going to use pink thread so that it matches my icing, but you just get whatever thread you think would be best. And you just You can thread the needle the easy way that I showed earlier before we did the sprinkles, but I'm just going to thread mine just poking it through the eye of the needle. I don't really need a needle threader, but that's okay if you need one. So I just pulled the string all the way through the needle and then tied a knot at the end of the 2 strings, just like we did with the sprinkles. We'll do that for every part of our sewing. And I'm just going to start going through the back and pull it up and then go back down and pull that through. Make sure it looks really nice. And that's my first stitch. And you're just going to keep making those all the way around. So you go up through the bottom and down through the top like that. And you'll just do that all the way around your icing. Alright, great. So now it's time to actually sew the top of the donut and the bottom of the donut together. So you just want to get the bottom of the donut and pin it to the top like it's already pinned. And again, I thread my needle just the normal way, but if you need to use the needle threader, that's totally fine. I just like to poke it through the hole. It's a little easier and faster for me, but it's totally up to you. And then, of course, you're just going to put the ends together, just like before, and tie those ends together. And now you're just going to sew the donut together. Make sure when you're sewing the outside of the donut together, like we're doing in this step, you're going to leave a big open spot because we're going to have to put some cotton inside of it. So we need to leave a big opening. Alright, so now we're going to sew the inside hole together, and I'm going to use a pink string, so it kind of goes with my pink frosting. So you definitely want this string to match your frosting, and you're just going to sew all the way through the middle. Okay, so now we're actually going to stuff our donut. So you're just going to get some cotton balls and just kind of pull them apart there, and we're just going to actually stuff our donut using the opening that we left when we were sewing the outside of the donut together. So you just open that up and push it in there and try to get it towards the back. With your fingers, just work it in there. up the donut with cotton, I get closer and closer to that opening. So I'm just put a little cotton in and then sew a few stitches. And then put a little more cotton in and sew a few more stitches until it's all full of cotton and it's all stitched up.